Chapter 20 The Giza Gamut. Ewart Memorial Hall, Cairo, 7:05 p.m. The lecture hall was filled to capacity, a sea of academics and dignitaries hanging on every word. On stage, Dr. Alistair Finch, looking remarkably distinguished in his coffin suit, adjusted his spectacles and leaned into the microphone. "Recent discoveries," he began, his voice a calm, authoritative river flowing over a torrent of personal anxiety, "suggest that certain ancient structures may have functioned not only as architectural marvels, but as resonant chambers, capable of interacting with Earth's own geomagnetic field." He clicked to a new slide showing a spectral analysis of Gobekli Tepe. "Using non-invasive quantum entanglement modeling, we are beginning to uncover evidence of sustained vibrational patterns embedded in stone. These findings challenge our understanding of ancient engineering and open the door to new interpretations of sacred architecture." The crowd was captivated. Alistair, the reluctant performer, was delivering the cover story of a lifetime. The Giza Plateau, 7:35 p.m. As Alistair mesmerized the academic world, Kalen, Ben, and Inanna slipped out of the lecture hall. A silent black SUV was waiting. "Is the asset en route?" Kalen asked into her phone as they sped through the Cairo night. After a moment, she nodded. "Excellent. Thank you." She turned to the others. "The cargo is 5 minutes out." They arrived at the perimeter of the Giza Plateau, which Kalen's survey team had secured for the night. The Great Pyramid loomed before them, a black triangle cut out of the star-dusted sky. For the first time, Ben was witnessing the magnificence with his own eyes. The sheer scale of the structure loomed before him, its towering presence imbued with a silent ancient power that seemed to whisper through the air, stealing the breath from his lungs. It was not merely a ruin, it was a dormant god, slumbering in its timeless grandeur. The stone walls, weathered and worn by centuries, were etched with intricate carvings that told stories of forgotten eras, and the air around it hummed with a mystic energy, as if the very ground held secrets of the ages. "Ben!" Kalen's voice snapped him out of his reverie. "We have work to do." A large canvas-covered infantry transport truck rumbled to a stop. Workers began to unload three heavy reinforced crates. "Carefully," Kalen commanded. "Those go to the entrance." Ben and Ananda grabbed their own bags filled with sensitive equipment and disappeared into the cool darkness of the pyramid. 45 minutes later, they emerged, their suits dusty, their faces grim with focus. "Internal sensors are placed," Ben announced. He set up his laptop. "This screen will show my vitals and pineal gland activity. This one monitors the resonators. These graphs are our lifeline. If they cross the threshold," he looked at Galen, his eyes hard, "you give the order to activate the kill switch." Galen nodded, her face a mask of cold resolve. She looked at her watch. 10 minutes until Alistair arrives. Let's get the assets inside." They opened the crates. The three black alien machines sat silently. Ben and one of the hired workers tried to lift the smallest one. They struggled, the machine refusing to budge. "No!" Kalen swore under her breath. "You didn't account for this. A setback like this is all we need." She got on her radio, calling the transport workers back. "The explanation?" Inada whispered, her eyes wide with worry. "They're simple people," Kalen hissed back. "They think it's scanning equipment." Little did she know, one of the workers, after hefting the impossibly heavy scanner into the pyramid's passage, slipped away into the darkness, and made a quiet, encrypted call. Echo Ridge, Virginia, USA, 1:45 p.m. local time. In a hidden command center, Major Vanguard watched a silent drone feed of the Giza Plateau. His phone buzzed. He listened for a moment, then a slow, predatory smile spread across his face. "They're moving the hardware," he said to the empty room. "Let them set the table. We'll join them for the dinner." At Giza, the laborers, panting and perspiring, had finally positioned each machine in its designated chamber. They were then sent off. Alistair, having arrived from his lecture just as the last machine was put in place, now stood with the team, his face a mixture of academic fascination and raw nerves. "Final test run," Kalen commanded, her voice cutting through the desert night. Inanna's fingers danced across the keyboard. "Lowest detectable frequency set. Operation in—" Suddenly she stopped. "Wait. The Queen's Chamber resonator. It's not holding a stable frequency. The power draw is fluctuating." Alistair rushed to her side, his academic demeanor gone, replaced by a field scientist's urgency. "Kamal said they were like tuning forks. If one is out of tune, it could create a dissonant cascade. We can't proceed like this." Before Kalen could respond, the beam of a pair of headlights cut through the darkness, followed by the crunch of tires on gravel. A jeep belonging to the Egyptian Tourism and Antiquities Police rolled to a stop just outside the perimeter. "Kill the power," Kalen hissed into her comms. "Look busy." She strode out to meet the two officers, her face a mask of cool authority. "Gentlemen," she said, her voice betraying no alarm, "this is a restricted archaeoacoustic survey site." The lead officer, a man with a stern face and a suspicious gaze, looked past her at their equipment. "We received a report of unauthorized power generation at the protected heritage site. We will need to inspect your permits and your equipment." The scene was now split. Outside, Kalen was locked in a tense battle of wills, using her forged paperwork and formidable presence to stall a police officer who was clearly on Vanguard's payroll. Inside the command tent, Inanna and Alistair were in a frantic race against time. "The resonator's crystalline matrix isn't aligning," Inanna muttered, her eyes glued to the diagnostics. "It's like it's rejecting the power source." "It's not about more power," Alistair exclaimed, having a flash of insight. "It's about the right frequency. Kamal was right. Inanna, instead of pushing more voltage, try to modulate the input frequency. Match the Schumann resonance harmonics. Don't force it, attune it." As Inanna's fingers flew across the keyboard, Kalen made her move outside. "Officer," she said, her voice dropping to a confidential tone, "my sponsor, the European Space Agency, has a direct line to the Minister of Antiquities. I am sure he would be very displeased to hear that his officially sanctioned, time-sensitive project was interrupted. Perhaps you can wait for my full report in the morning." The veiled threat hung in the air. The officer hesitated, then gave a curt nod. "We will be back in 1 hour to ensure all regulations are being followed." He and his, he and his partner got back in their jeep and drove off. But the threat remained. "He's gone," Kalen said into her comms, striding back to the command post. "But we're on the clock. Status?" "He's right. Alistair was right," Inanna replied, relief flooding her voice. "The frequency is stable. All systems are green. We are go. Kalen looked from Alistair to Inanna, a newfound respect in her eyes for the calm they maintained under fire. Good work, both of you, she said. She then turned her attention to the pyramid's dark entrance. Let's get this show on the road. We have less than an hour. Ministry of Space and Advanced Technologies, Beijing, 3:18 a.m. local time. Dr. Lin Yifan leaned forward, her eyes locked on a global resonance map. A tiny anomalous spike had just appeared, centered perfectly on the Giza Plateau. It wasn't a wave, it was a pulse, a heartbeat. She ran the data again. Same result. Her fingers flew across her console. Run satellite EM scan, she spoke into her headset. Cross reference with all classified geological archives. The file labeled Echo 7. Moments later, her assistant replied, his voice strained. Dr. Lin, we have a match. The signature, it's non terrestrial. Lin stared at the screen, her mind racing. The long dormant echo had just woken up. The Great Pyramid, 9:29 p.m. Unaware that they had just alerted the entire world, the team stood at the pyramid's entrance. Let's get this show on the road, Kalen said, her voice a low command. Ben, assume your position. Inanna, initiate the countdown as soon as he's in place. Alistair, you're with her. Keep your eyes on those parameters. Ben gave them a final determined nod. He walked into the darkness of the ancient machine, made his way to the king's chamber, and lay down in the cold stone sarcophagus. His voice came over their headsets, calm and clear. In position. Inanna took a deep, steadying breath and looked at Kalen. Kalen, let's make the pyramid sing.